Cheers.
Because this is new.
Yeah, I like that. New lamp.
Oh, yeah, dude. The C-Suite Unfiltered is going the next level.
Yeah, it is. One day. One day we'll monetize.
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, welcome back.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Big news. Big news. Elon.
Yeah.
Going all in on Twitter. Oh,
Yes.
Excuse me, X.
So he's changing it to X. Is
Changing
he
it to
actually
X.
changing the business name to X?
That's what I've been told.
Is he just trolling people, or is he actually changing?
I think he's actually doing it.
See, the problem is by the time you release this, it'll have already been determined whether this is a joke or if this is real.
Well, we can dive right into it.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah.
First, I do need to give a quick shout out. Chad and Caleb.
Chad and Caleb. Who?
Yeah. They had an intro call with me today,
Oh, yeah.
and they were asking when the next episode's coming out.
Dude,
and I said tonight.
I did a live show
Yeah.
today, and someone called in and was like, "When's the next episode of C-Suite Unfiltered?"
Let's go. Chad and Caleb, they asked me today. They
You
said,
know you're down the rabbit hole when you're watching C-Suite Unfiltered.
Yeah, 100%. They did say you need to step up your non-financial advice.
I need to step it up.
You need to step it up.
Okay, I got good stuff today.
They said I'm always prepared.
Oh, well.
They're like, we can tell you're always prepared, but Mike's
Yeah,
just coming
right.
up with something.
No, that's
So,
usually how this whole show
They called
goes.
you out. Well, yeah.
You have a laptop, I don't.
Yeah, Mike's just here. This is where I give you the ability to like free up some brain space.
This is where you earn your 50% of the revenue that we're not making on this show.
Exactly. I'm using your clout. You're using my time to get the content pieces. So Twitter is now X. Here's what this means.
Okay.
This is a CBS News article that was literally posted an hour ago and updated 4 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
So this is very fresh. All right.
So is the question like, is this a good move type thing?
Well, I think that's what we'll get into.
Okay.
That's why I just want to. I haven't even read this article all the way through. That's how fresh it is.
Okay.
So just stop me when you have a thought. I guess is kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, like I think right off the bat, like whether it's a good or bad idea, it's going to be completely like in a month or two, like everyone will look back and be either like, that's what made he's a genius.
Yeah.
Or it'll go back poorly. It's like, it's what ruined the whole platform, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that him switching the name does mean that it's probably pretty bad on the back end. You wouldn't change it if it wasn't bad. Like if it was all up and to the right, you'd be like, hey, let's leave this alone. Or hey, maybe I'm totally wrong on that too. Maybe Elon's just like, hey, it's doing great. I'm going to change it to X, like it's mine now.
Yeah.
Kind of like what he did to Tesla when he bought out the founders and then like did it all himself. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What you said on the back end, I think I know what you mean by that, but what do you mean by
behind the scenes?
Okay.
So behind
Yeah,
the scenes, he knows he's losing advertisers. The traditional brand of what Twitter stands for has ruined, what it can become. And he's like, I just got to click the reset button. Like this is almost like a last-ditch effort. So that could be it, right?
Could be.
I don't believe that's necessarily true. I think it's actually doing pretty good from a user perspective, but from an advertiser's perspective, he might just need a reset. And then it cements his legacy, and he switches the whole brand of Twitter to X, which is, in his mind, potentially going to become more of a payments platform. And then they monetize it that way.
Yeah.
Which makes very interesting to me.
My thought process, I guess, before getting into the article is I think he's going to the latter point, which is a new Meta, a new YouTube Premium, a new Patreon.
And he needs to get out of the shadow of Twitter. Yeah.
So he's just he bought an asset that was already in a space he wanted to have a footprint in, and so now he's just adapting the asset to better fit that footprint.
Right.
That's my thought process.
Yeah, and just have that user base that already they have their credit. So, for example, Twitter Blue, with so many people getting it, it's just like, okay, now you have all their payment information. So, for example, now can you tweet someone money? Like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, or can you do giveaways? Can you give creators money really quickly from a tweet?
Yeah.
These are the type of things that like. And Twitter's getting a cut of all that now. Forget the advertisers. I don't care. He doesn't have to care about what they think about him now. It's like, hey, and the reason I think that might be his ultimate plan too is the fact that they haven't really worked on the ad platform at all.
Right.
Like the actual back end running ads, they haven't really worked on it at all. They worked on the front end, like for the users. And so it'd just be interesting to see if it's like, I don't even care about the advertising. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to monetize it in a completely different way. And like, if he does that, dude, and pulls it off, dude, that would just cement just the GOAT in there. So.
I think that's the way he's going. This is a total tangent, but we're here now. Facebook. So to Facebook creators, you can give stars.
Right.
Do you disable stars on your content?
I recently started disabling them because it's just annoying. I don't think it's an intuitive way of giving.
real quick, for those who don't know, stars are basically a way to send a content creator money, a donation.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and so I don't think it's so like in YouTube, for example, you get stickers, but there's very much attached like $4.99. Here's a sticker, right? You can send like super thanks, like $10.99 here, whatever it is, but it's very much attributed to dollars. And I think when you start trying to like tokenize giving, it can get a little bit funky. Whereas it's like when you like, I want to give to a creator, I'm gonna give them money, right? So. And having the step of like having to buy stars and then give the stars away versus just it being natively baked in where I can give someone money is a totally different thought process.
So what's the short answer of why you don't take stars? Like you explained it well, but like why don't you as a person take the stars from people?
It almost feels like I'm asking for money. And when in for most creators that have built a business around their content, it's not the money that you get from your fans directly from the content. Like YouTube ads isn't like 1% of what we make in terms of the media side. And so most creators, like for example, Mr. Beast is giving away all his ad revenue from Twitter from one post, just like giving it away. It's like 25 grand. Because like 25 grand to him is a drop in the bucket to like festivals and everything else they're doing. So in my opinion, it makes me look like I'm doing the content for money when that is such a small piece of my pie. So from a branding perspective, it's a bad look. Where if I can say like, I don't need it because like it's literally nothing. And then I can focus on creating more value. It just comes across from a branding perspective as like, he's not here for the money, even though like obviously everyone putting their face and speaking to a microphone is getting some sort of monetary benefit, but it doesn't seem as much when it's like, give stars. Yeah. It just seems like dumb. And it's not a lot of money.
That's fair. I thought I'd ask.
I think the most money I've ever made on Facebook was last month. I think it was like $1,300.
Yeah.
From like video views and stuff.
Video views and ad revenue?
Yeah, all sorts of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Huh, interesting. Yeah. I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
It's an interesting world, like online donations to a creator. Yeah. I will say I have given stars on Facebook to a Facebook creator. Yeah. Because I'm like, I've watched this guy's content for years. I was like, the least I can do is send him $10. Yeah. So I did it, and it's weird. It just feels weird. Yeah. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like
But he's putting out free content, and I watch it. So like.
But you have to buy the stars, right?
Yes.
See, that is a huge amount of friction.
Yes.
It should be, if I can just when you click on the star or something, it's like shows a dollar amount, and you click on the dollar amount, and do you want to check out? You double tap the side of your button. Immediately, App Store just takes $5 from your account. Yeah. There shouldn't be an intermediate. You buy stars and then you give. It should be like, I want to give and take out that intermediate step. Yeah. And for a lot of these platforms, they have the card information in your account. And so that's why YouTube, in my mind, just crushes it with their stickers. Like if you go on a live stream, you see people, like, they can highlight their comment or whatever. It's so easy. You tap on it, you double click on the side, you just made a payment on the App Store.
That's super cool.
So
there's a lot of friction on Facebook. Yeah, because I had to like give Facebook my credit card information and then go through this whole process.
They'll figure it out. They'll make it better.
Yeah,
but like YouTube has nailed it.
Yeah,
their super thanks, their stickers, super chats, stuff like that.
Yeah, super chat. I've heard of that one. Yeah. People use that a lot. So, well, that will either be a great introductory to this or completely off topic. So, the internet is abuzz as the app formerly known as Twitter announced a name change over the weekend. X.com now redirects to Twitter.com, although the social media platform still invites users to tweet.
Yeah.
The rebrand is another step in the ongoing transformation of Twitter, an online watering hole for hyper-connected people, blah, blah, okay, whatever. X is the future state of unlimited interactivity, centered in audio, video, messaging, payments, and banking, creating a global marketplace for ideas, goods, services, and opportunities. This is the CEO, Linda Yaccarino, I think is how you pronounce it. Powered by AI, X will connect us all in ways we're just beginning to imagine.
And I think she worked at, was it NBC she worked at?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
She worked for another platform, but in advertising and like creating partnerships with like ad side. So I thought that's where they were going to go once he made that hire. But in my opinion, it's banking. They should definitely, like, you have 200 million users. Like, you can turn this into big, like Apple Pay, for example. They have like bullied their way into becoming one of the biggest banks in the world. Yeah. How? By basically making a button on your phone. Like, they have the platform, so they're just gonna dominate. And so if you on Twitter, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can keep your money here. Oh, now you can like trade off of here. Now you can send money through here. Now you can collect interest on there. Like, you can just do all this other stuff.
Dude, if you had a business account on Twitter, could your customers pay you? on Twitter.
I would imagine if it's Twitter, if you have Twitter
Right.
Blue, if you have Twitter Blue, you can transact really easily.
Yeah, it's like a verified purchase.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, just pay me on Twitter Blue. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but there's already PayPal. There's already, but like, remember who kind of started PayPal, right? Elon was part of of that group. So like, he's very keenly aware of what payments can do, and he has openly said that what he thought PayPal was going to go, they haven't never touched it. And he said like there's 10 years of it. He's just like, why haven't they gone and done this thing? And he's always wanted to do X.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he does. It'll be interesting. I think it's either he is desperate and he has to reset the whole brand because it's going down so fast, or this is part of his plan the whole time, and that's how he got investors. It was like, hey guys, Twitter, that's just a platform just to get 250 million active monthly active users, and we're going to flip them all into this payments platform where it's like, we're going to mix Patreon, content, YouTube, and creators now they give money to creators.
Right.
Like, we're going to make this into this behemoth where like YouTube doesn't have the branch of like news, celebrities, as much following in terms of interactivity, and we're going to become that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So what will the app do now, is what the article says. Musk has been vocal about his goal of returning Twitter into a so-called super app, something akin to China's WeChat. Yeah. For now, there's no American equivalent. Well, yeah, that's because, the government isn't controlling us through social media yet.
Yeah.
They're trying to. Put on your tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
But industry experts imagine an app that will encompass basically anything a person wants to do online. That's where I said I think he's going like Meta.
Yeah.
He's trying to compete with Facebook Meta. Yeah. Consumers of the app can do a lot of different things on the platform, listening to podcasts, shop, watch videos, said Ni Ani, Chief Strategy Officer. Twitter already lets users engage in live audio conversations. They released that like weird kind of pseudo radio show, Spaces. Thank you. But that was cool. Send longer text messages, broadcast videos, such as the new show former Fox host News, Tucker Carlson, recently launched on the platform. If Twitter's push into paid subscriptions is successful, it could eventually expand into sharing some subscription revenue with users, which they're already pushing for. In theory, they can become a more mainstream version of Patreon or other similar platforms, Ani said. Whether they succeed remains to be seen. It's not the reason people go to Twitter today, so to reposition the company would take significant investment and time with what's really a skeleton team.
I think it was said in passing or someone commented on it, but like Elon messaged Mr. Beast and it was basically saying like he wants to make the amount that they make on ad revenue from YouTube about equivalent on Twitter. And he was like, hey, like basically like someone commented like Mr. Beast should post his main channel videos on Twitter. And Elon basically replied or said something or mentioned it. And it was like the goal would be to make it where he, from an economic standpoint, makes as much on Twitter as he does on YouTube. That becomes really interesting. And that's why like Threads, for example, is just tough right now. Like there's just not as much following. There's less features, etc. But if you pivot to something that like Facebook is not going to be able to do from an antitrust perspective because it's a public company versus he has Twitter is private, you have a lot of advantages to move faster.
I think just jumping back to the Spaces side of things, it makes a more I hate to use this term because it makes me sound, pretentious, but it's a nice global feel.
Yeah.
So you have the global connectivity of Twitter, but you get the local aspect of I can jump into Spaces. So like when the Mariners have a big win, one of the Seattle talk show hosts always goes and hops on Spaces. And I get the notification. He's like, Mariners had a huge win, like hop in Spaces with me. And there's like 600 people who are like all over the world, but they care about the Mariners and they get to hear this guy talk about it. Yeah. And like that's really cool. And then if you can start monetizing that, then it becomes interesting. Or giving exclusivity to paid subscribers, Blue, then they get access to exclusive Spaces, or they get specific share time during Spaces, whatever. It's just interesting.
Yeah,
it does. So what does this mean for Twitter? Jump into a different section here. For now, the platform's rebrand is just a name change. No new features have been introduced, staying true to Musk's apparent preferred product strategy of hype first, deliver much later. Yeah. So I think a little bit of a dig at Elon, but that's kind of his style.
Some people need to look through the economics of this, right? So if someone like Elon can turn Twitter into a content, let's just look at content only.
Yeah.
And so Netflix, for example, it's like what, $8-10 a month? $10?
I think it's like 10, I think.
Okay, let's call it 10. All right. $10 a month. They have 100 million subscribers, a little over 100 million subscribers. If he can convince half of the current users of Twitter to become Twitter Blue through whatever means possible, whether that be verification, whether it be payments, or whether that be limited content for special spaces or access to exclusive people that have hundreds of millions of followers. And it's like, hey, the first 1,000 people only can go in the spaces, and you have to be a Twitter Blue subscriber.
Yep.
If you got 100 million people, the valuation of Netflix, hundreds of billions of dollars. So that looks interesting just in and of itself, a subscriber model. And there's like, we lock up really great content behind paid walls, just like Netflix does. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So to take away the fact that if you're actually doing banking on the platform, just like locking up content behind a paywall and then figuring out a way to monetize that correctly. So
yeah. I want to see if there's anything else interesting here in this article. We're almost toward the end. Let's see.
Speaking of banking, if you want to pivot, you can
Sure.
Dude,
Yeah.
I've been looking a lot into banking overseas.
Okay.
Oh,
Here
yeah,
we go.
dude. Lots of stuff. This is really interesting. Really interesting. So I shared a little bit on the Facebook or the mastermind with the franchise.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been looking a lot with like my legal guys, seeing what we can do, what's legal. Obviously, like I would make sure everything's above board. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're trying to cheat." No, like
No.
this is completely legal.
Yeah. Totally.
But like, what requirements are like, what do you have to do to make it legal?
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting path to go down, dude. Looking at different banks, looking at different citizenships, passports, etc.
Yeah. What's the exchange rate on Swiss francs to USD right now?
See, but Swiss francs, it's not necessarily the best. Yeah, Swiss isn't great. Like, so for example, it's very hard to become a citizen there.
Oh yeah.
And you don't like the Swiss banks has always been seen as like super like high and like, well, like there's plenty that fail. Like if you look at a numbers perspective. So, I don't know. It's just interesting stuff. I've been looking a lot about banking online, then like, using different currencies for your banking for reserves, where you should store certain, precious metals, stuff like that. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've done anything yet.
Yeah. No.
Very educated.
Yeah.
Myself right now.
What are your main resources for education? It's like YouTube or reaching out to specific people?
Yeah, so
I don't want to prod, but like where does one start?
Yeah, YouTube is great. There's lots of good channels about becoming expat, or moving off seas or moving offshore, stuff like that. But I am probably gonna go to people that like know what they're doing, have done it 1,000 times, and like pay them to learn more.
Gotcha.
So I think it's just like one of those things that I don't want to sacrifice upside by trying to protect downside, like i.e. trying to save taxes, so therefore I lose out on 10x multiples of upside. But if there's things I can do with, especially the businesses that don't require in person, and move that money. Like everyone's like, "Oh, you're trying to avoid taxes." You 100% of better I am, especially after like COVID when they came to like lock down my gym and basically like threatened me with not just legal action, but like massive fines of $25,000 a day, and that I would go to jail. Yeah. Like if you threaten me with that, I'm sorry, I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah. No.
It's like, that's when I got guns. That's when I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I that's tyrannical, and freedom is what I'm after. I'm not after the best country in the world or whatever. And I still think the US is amazing and all the rest of it. But like, I've just seen so many cracks in where power goes after, the peak of a sovereign power over the course of hundreds of years. They don't last very long. And so I'm just interested to make sure, like, number one, I take care of myself. Number two, I take care of the businesses. And then most importantly, I have options. Because if someone comes to that tomorrow, I'm like, okay, great. Like I can hand my passport and be like, go fly a kite.
We give me like, we go in South America, we go in Europe, we go.
I'm looking all over. So
Okay,
I would ideally in the
back
perfect
to the
scenario.
motherland.
No, in the perfect scenario right now, I think I want something in Caribbean. I would like to have a Caribbean passport. I would like to have a South Europe passport, and then I would like to have a Southeast Asia passport. So like Malaysia is a great place. Italy is not a bad place. So like in Italy, for example, depending on how you get your citizenship, $100,000 max that you can pay in income tax for the year. So you pay $100,000, and after that, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Caribbean, a little tough. Usually the only way to get in is like through donation. Like literally you give them money and they give you a passport. Yeah.
Sounds legit.
Yeah. But it's really good for capital gains. So like if you're ever selling something like a business, this is why crypto went down to the Bahamas, right? Crypto is like hub is the Bahamas. If you go to Bahamas, you see banks like everywhere. Cause it's like a haven for getting out of capital gains. So, you got like Puerto Rico. I don't want to go to Puerto Rico, but I'm just saying like you got like Jake Paul, for example, moved down there.
Oh,
No.
Interesting.
Sometimes if people move to Puerto Rico, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Especially around crypto. So
Yeah.
if people get involved in crypto, a lot of times they'll go down there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just looking. I'm
like
educating myself.
I like it.
I want to have options. I want it to be next time that someone comes and says, you shut down your business, I say, go fly a kite. And here's my passport. I'm no longer a citizen if that's what I had to come to.
Yeah.
So like I did not like the fact that I had to put people, like lay people off. They had to go on unemployment. The amount of like fear. I had to pull all my lines of credit immediately, like in defensive mode. If I was like, yeah, you're not going to tell me what to do. Like, oh, you don't want me to be here? Great. Here's my passport. Like, go fly a kite.
Yeah. And
especially like the whole like vaccine thing. Fortunately, we were a little further away from Seattle, but like if we would have been in Seattle, like we would have been really, really hurting.
Tough spot. Yeah.
Like, and for a lot of people listening, like, you don't know, like in certain parts of the country, like Seattle, you could not eat.
Literal shutdowns.
If you did not have the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like I went down there for a weekend one time and I was like, I could not eat. I could not eat because like they were checking people's passports at the front door. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, but I want to be able to check out of this if this ever happens again.
When did COVID start? 2020?
2020. In March 2020.
Gosh, it's been so long. Yeah. I had one of my best friends from college. He and his girlfriend came up here around Christmas, 2021.
Yeah.
So we're talking like 18 months after, mass chaos. And, of course, they want to see the sights in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Never been out. Of course, yeah, happy to show you. Couldn't go into any restaurant, any bar, any coffee shop, like you name it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to close down my gym.
Nuts.
When the people that I was needing my services the most in terms of health, mental health, physical health, during when we're in like a health crisis and I can't have my gym open. And then, suddenly years later, we realize, not only is this COVID thing not as bad as we thought, but the vaccine that we forced everyone to and shamed everyone to having is not worth anything either. It's like, and everyone that like laughed at me for not getting the vaccine, I'm like, I'm not saying like told you so, because like, obviously there was a lot of things going on at that time, but it was like anytime when politicians have power and they abuse it, the level of trust I have in them dramatically decreases. And typically that's what happens when you give people power, unfortunately. Like power left unchecked typically will spoil the leader. And so that's why I'm a big believer. Like we have the Franchise Advisory Council. I'm a big believer in like I say specifically on the one we just elected, like please challenge me, debate my top. I just like power unchecked is a bad recipe. And so, yeah, man, kind of like put that taste in my mouth. And I think too, like the Americans, like we have bought into the propaganda machine of like the U.S. is the only safe place. It's the only place you can like do business in. It's the only place that like is good to live. It's like, you haven't traveled outside the U.S. before, have you? Yeah. Like, there's some really nice places out there. Yeah. And so, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I like it. You're going Andrew Tate on me over there.
Oh man, no, I would love to stay in the U.S. I love the U.S. I still think it's the best country, and I've traveled a lot. So like, I think it's the best place in the world. But COVID gave me a glimpse into what our founding fathers ran from. And if you're saying that's anti-American, no, America was built on freedom. And so if you're going to tell me what to do and force it down my throat and threaten me to go to jail, I'm going to be looking for options.
Yeah. Well, America was built on rebels.
Yeah, dude.
Too.
Let's go.
I mean, really.
And guns.
Like rebels, guns, dude, freedom.
One of the things that's amazing, I know we're way off topic,
no,
but
like
fine. U.S. is still one of the very few places you can have guns.
Yeah.
Like nuts. It's amazing, especially in Europe, obviously. But except even other countries, like there's just, you can't have guns in a lot of places. And I understand where people's thought process on that goes. Like more guns, more killing. Okay, great. But like, where's the power going? Because like you have money, you have guns, and like what else do you got?
Influence.
Yeah, but that comes through money and guns.
Yeah, well, but I'm saying like now, like demonetization and like filtering people online. Yeah, like there are certain powers in play now saying like, no, you can't even say that anymore.
But online. They have money,
right?
So if you don't have money and you don't have guns in a world where there's political powers that are trying to push you in places, you have no power. Yeah. If you had money during COVID, you just flew your private jet somewhere and like hung out. Right, you would just be able to pay for all of your team, and that you wouldn't have to go on unemployment. Right. So I want to get to that place. Yeah, like that's untouchable. It's like you forget
sure,
it.
Find me.
Yeah, go for it. So I had 2 times during COVID I got letters threatening me to go to jail because I kept the gym open. The second time, so I closed it late. I got threatened then. I got threatened again when I opened back up, and it was like probably a couple months before we were supposed to, and we weren't doing masks, and it was just like, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, you guys just go work out. If you want to come to the gym, you can come take the risk.
If you want to take care of your body in a health crisis,
work out at your own risk.
Yeah.
So I got threatened twice. I still remember reading both times I was in the same spot reading this letter. Basically threatened me to go to jail and $25,000 a day if I kept the gym open. And not a single fine was ever followed up on. The Supreme Court found it unconstitutional for the owners that stayed open, like specifically gyms. So I followed all of them.
Yeah.
Found it unconstitutional. That, of course, is not getting published in the media. But the bottom line is the fact that you would threaten me and then like do that. Like, dude, I just lost all trust in all the power of that be.
Yeah.
And so guns, we got guns, baby. We're gonna have options. I'm gonna make sure I get multiple passports. One day if I got a private jet, it would be more for the fact that I just want to be able to
just go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I was talking to one of our franchisees in Canada, and he was like, yeah, if like I tell people like I'll go and shoot guns with my buddies on the weekend, they like think I'm crazy. He's like, they think I'm like a right-wing nut.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, in America, it's just normal.
Yeah, I know.
For most of us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's becoming not so. If you say that in the middle of Seattle, man, people would think it weird.
Oh yeah, totally. It's interesting. I don't know. But yeah. So offshore banking, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Let's jump to something totally different. We teased it last weekend. You didn't even know what Oppenheimer was.
Yeah, no.
All right.
But I have decided I will go probably watch it based upon your recommendation.
I think I'll go see it too.
Yeah.
And then we can do a breakdown.
Yeah. The fact
do a review.
Yeah, the fact that it is a historically correct by the sounds of it.
Yep.
As well as like a more in-depth of what happened in the war. That's pretty cool. So we'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
But you have something to say about this.
Well, I feel like we're also like typical white American males. Like, yeah, World War II, dude. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'll watch that. Saving Private Ryan, yeah.
I've never watched
top 10 movie of all time. You haven't? Oh,
no,
man,
dude,
that's great.
I don't watch movies. You recommended it, so I'm like, oh.
If you need a movie recommendation, I'm a movie guy. I don't watch a lot of shows, but I do love a good movie.
Okay.
So anyways, Barbie, Oppenheimer, both opened this last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Big weekend for both of them. Both of them just stomping records.
Really?
Just getting after it.
just
going in. All right. And then you got people on the right, Barbie is toxic femininity and it's making men weak, and people on the left saying it's a great celebration of women, and and then people saying Oppenheimer's offensive because we shouldn't revisit that dark history of the US when we nuked people. And I'm like, here we are. But these are big movies. So someone, this is Daily Mail.
Okay.
So they did a map of the United States. Have you seen this?
No.
Great. I got it pulled up. So is Barbie trending or Oppenheimer trending? In what state of the U.S.?
So I'm going to guess that Oppenheimer does better in red states, and then that Barbie does better in blue states.
You are exactly wrong.
Really?
So on this graphic, I'll throw it up on the screen for anyone. If you're not listening, check it out. Just go Daily Mail, Barbie Oppenheimer map. It shows trending in terms of Google. The trend is Google Trends from July 15th to July 22nd. And if the state is more pink, it is trending Barbie. And if it's more blue, it is trending more Oppenheimer. Mm-hmm. So,
is this percentages? Like, what's the data points?
I don't know exactly what the data point is. I'm just going to be honest. But it says it's from Google Trends.
Because I'm seeing -2 and
I don't know what it means.
So look, that's off of 100 scale basis. We're talking about minuscule amounts of differences.
Yeah, that's kind of.
This isn't even. This could be considered like based upon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're just showing.
There could be statistical error though. I'm just saying.
I agree. But it's blowing up, and we're on the internet, and it's on the internet, so we got to talk about it.
It's based on Google Trends.
Google Trends. I said that.
Okay, well that doesn't necessarily.
But I don't know what
the tickets.
I don't know what the metric is.
Because see,
I agree.
Ultimately, media is pushed by people who are mad. Okay. So if the people that are in red states are just mad about Barbie, they'll search it.
Like Barbie, toxic femininity.
They go watch it.
Yeah, okay.
That would be interesting.
Well, I did look that up, but I couldn't find any good data yet. No, I couldn't find any data on sales in terms of individual movies, individual states.
Because media is driven by anger. So I would say the reason it's inverse of what I thought. See, I would be interested to see if my conclusion is for sales.
Yeah.
But for trends, I could see why mad people search those things more.
Yeah. So you actually have what looks like, your classic electoral college map on election night in November, when we all get excited and stay up late and we watch Chuck Todd and that one guy on the map, which I love doing that. But as you can see, more of the traditionally red states, very pink. And then you have the traditionally blue states.
Yeah, it's anger.
More blue.
That's what it is.
But you also have swing states that are at a neutral. Yeah. So that's where it's interesting. Look, you got Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, traditional swing states, right?
That's so funny.
And they're neutral.
That's hilarious, right? Dude.
Yeah. And then you have New Mexico, which is a hard trend for Oppenheimer, obviously. Well, it's their history, right? Happened in New Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So of course they're hard trend. And then you got Mississippi, the hardest trend towards Barbie. So I don't know what's
cool.
Going.
Well, now I'm really interested to see what happens.
It's just weird. It's like, I agree with you. When I saw it, I was like, whoa, is this based on sales? That was my gut reaction. I was like, oh, it's just on trending on Google Trends. Yeah. Like, well, that doesn't really mean anything.
See. Well, but hey, by the time we watch it, we can analyze it.
Yeah.
And then we can also see from a sales perspective, because I think it's going to be the inverse.
What I have to ask for the people. Yeah. Don't get mad at me. This is the people want to know. Yeah. Are you going to see Barbie too?
Not a chance. You couldn't pull my front teeth out.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Exchange for that.
Here's what I'm thinking. My wife really wants to see Barbie, so I'll do the double feature.
So okay,
the pod. For everyone out there,
this isn't like digital. It is like a real enactment of what they think Barbie should be.
Well, I don't know what the story is, man. I'm going in blind. All I know is...
So you're going to go with your wife?
Yeah, I am. I'm committing to this for the viewers.
Oh, man, you poor soul.
I'm going to go... I'll see both, and then we can do a breakdown of Oppenheimer together, and then I can give you my bullet points of Barbie, and you can tell me when you're bored.
Dude, I would be bored the moment you say Barbie.
Yeah.
Like, what's there to learn? Is there a storyline?
Coming of age tale. That's a classic cop out. I have no idea. It's her like leaving Barbie world. And finding out there's a real world.
Oh, brother.
It's like I
hate fiction videos.
Well, movies. I can't even give you an analogy because you don't watch any like entertainment, just blunt entertainment pieces. Like the Lego movie, did you ever see that? Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I bet your nephew loves it, nephews. But it's like the Lego movie. Like part of the movie is in like the Lego world, like what the Legos experience. But then there's like the real world outside of it too. I feel like that's what they're going for. I could be totally wrong, but I'll get. Here's the thing. I'm doing it for us.
I'd rather tear off my fingernails, dude.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. I saw he released a video like today. I'm not a huge Ben guy, but he's
really
around. Not really.
I think he's a little annoying, but he's kind of funny.
Very annoying. But actually,
you talk so fast.
If you look at the data, but he did a 47-minute video breakdown of like why Barbie's horrible, and I'm like, look, dude, chill out. Like, stop drinking the Kool-Aid.
He knows that's
but like you said,
clipped.
like hate sells. Yeah. No, he's smart. But I'm like, dude, a 47-minute video. Like, how long's the movie? You basically.
Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, dude.
Barbie. Yeah, see, it's already trending.
Yeah. How many views?
1.4 million views.
1.4 million. Isn't it like 47 minutes?
No, that was a recap. Oh no, 43 minutes.
Dude, like he's talking for basically half the movie.
His media is so on point, dude.
Yeah.
He is so good at taking every situation and like turning into a political thing for his. It's great.
Yeah, but
I would love for him to be in a debate on a political stage. Love it.
It'd be fantastic. But here's my thing. Since we're going down this now, like that kind of stuff is like he's literally, you said it, he's doing it for clicks.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm like, if you really care about what you say, which is like make America. Well, I mean, he's not saying make America great. Yeah. Sorry, just so ingrained. But he's like, so we have to return America to like traditional values and all this smut out there and like all this horrible stuff. It's like, but then you clearly put up like a hit piece on a movie that a lot of Americans like.
Right.
And guess what? I bet a lot of teenage girls just want to go see it because it's pink and it's fun and it's the toy they grew up playing with.
Yeah.
Like, you have to believe I went and saw the Transformers movies, dude. Those were dope, dude.
Divisive.
Those were so sweet.
But divisive sells. So.
Yeah. Like,
he's doing it.
Like, I don't know. Let's be like,
pander to the audience.
It'd be like Rachel Maddow going on and talking about how Transformers is, toxic masculinity. It's like, dude, just let us enjoy the toy we grew up playing with. Let me watch Optimus Prime, dude. That's all I want.
That's hilarious.
So, all right, I'm gonna hand up.
Okay.
Gentleman's agreement.
Oh, yeah.
I will go see Barbie for both of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Goodness.
And then we'll both go see Oppenheimer.
Okay.
What do I have to do them both in the next week? I might need
Yeah.
I might need an advance. Dude, movies are so expensive
Need
nowadays.
some time off.
Yeah. Can I call out Friday?
Vacation after your
That's
hangover.
like 6 hours. I think the Oppenheimer's like 3.5 hours. Barbie movie's like 2.
Really?
Plus
Oh,
previews.
man. That's
Oh
horrible.
gosh. All right. I'm doing it for you.
Okay,
and
are
for the
we
viewers.
moving along to non-financial advice?
Yeah. Well, you did tell me to ask you a question.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. What's been your focus recently?
Oh.
I'll just no preface.
That was a little bit last week. We kind of talked a little bit about the off-storage stuff. We went off on that tangent. So I've been doing a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But even too, so last Thursday, on Built for Business on the training app, I'm in this new phase of strength where I'm supposed to do like less reps and higher weight.
Yeah.
And for me, I go to the gym, and if I don't like have some sort of exertion, I don't feel like I went to the gym. So I have to like track everything I'm doing. And so my trainer, Christian, saw like that I kept doing like twice as many reps and like lighter weight. And he like came down really hard. He's like, "This is not what you're supposed to be doing!" ! And like all this, like broke it down. And at first I was like, "Oh man, like whatever," because like I've never had a trainer, and like I've always like I enjoy working out to where the point I feel a sweat. Like I've always been like, that's my rule. I gotta sweat. So like I will have to do more reps. You have to exert yourself. You can't have as many gaps in between, stuff like that. And he basically like told me off. Like, if you want gains, if you want to like improve, this is what you need to do. I was like, oh, great. But then I was thinking about later, and I was like, it's probably a good metaphor for like a weakness I have in business. And that is like thinking that the way to like further progress is always going to be through like brute force and like more reps. When in reality, like being more strategic about it is probably where I need to be moving now personally from like a business standpoint. And so even though like and so like the thing that I really came to grips with is the fact that the reason I don't do that, even though I know I should, like when I look at the business, is I'm afraid of what the perception is of the team. Because they see someone that is less go out there and work 24 hours. And therefore they think the way that to become like me is to be that. And that would be like, slow things down, don't work all night, but be strategic and have more time. Like this hour, I am not doing any tasks. I'm going to think strategically about what we're doing for the business and like what I can delegate and things like that. And I did that over the weekend just a little bit. And I don't often just like sit down with my Remarkable and just be like, okay, like let's think about like frameworks that I'm thinking through and like how do I verbalize, like put what's in my head on paper. I never think that way. And like how do I visualize it? And like I came up with like 2 really, really good diagrams. I think it'll help like a lot of people.
Cool.
And so I'm thinking like, okay, if from a working out perspective, I have this flawed concept of improvement, and that is like basically you have to exert in order to be able to say that you achieve something. If potentially that like as I grow into a larger organization and like someone who's leading more people and like just more revenue, is I need to change the way I think about, you know, if to go to the next stage of my physical being, I need to do change business wise. I probably need to like change that concept. So I've been kind of like working on that.
I like that.
I'm very like my honestly, like, my concern is like what is the perception of the team when I'm like at 3:00, like, yeah, no, I'm not working all night tonight. Like I'm going to go and like, I'm just going to like sit next to the water and like work through the org chart.
Yeah, but who on the team is going to know that?
In my opinion, see, that's the thing. That is, you're right.
Like I kind of want to push on this a little.
See, in my mind, it's like everyone, which I know is wrong. I feel bad coming into the office and it's not 5 a.m. Like I don't, like, because I know they start at 5.
Yep.
If I'm out there at 5, like I feel bad. I know they close at 5. If I'm out there past 5, I feel bad. And I know that's a flawed concept. I understand that. But I also realize that 2 things. One, the more insecure side of me is like, they will then believe that I am soft and therefore they should have more money. And I know the businesses are like, we're always running close to redlining them. And like, I can't afford that. If I have to give up growth of the businesses.
Yep.
And I don't want that. Cause like I love growth. That's why I'm in this game. So I don't want that. And it's like, okay, well, if Mike can like only work 8 hours a day, that means now we have lots of money. So like, therefore I should get more. And if that happens, then I'd be forced back into working hard. So that's the first part, very insecure. Second part is, I like to think that I lead the life that is required for the people I'm leading to get what I have. And so that if they say, hey, like, I want what Mike has, for example, it's like, oh, I just need to do what he's doing. And that's good to a certain point, but there comes a certain point where if you keep doing the same thing, what is required to go from, say, 0 to 10 million, you're never going to get past that. And so I almost wrote up a letter.
Nice.
For the team.
Big letter guy.
Yeah, I almost did. Almost made a letter, and that was like, hey, this is something I struggle with. Here's what I'm doing about it. I didn't write the letter.
This is like full on like narcissist anonymous
right
here. Not saying you're a narcissist, but like you're just like laying it out.
Well, yeah, like I almost wrote the letter, and I was gonna give it to only the people like that are really close to me and know my daily schedule's like. And that was like gonna be like, honestly, like right now it's like the media team, co-pilot team, probably like the managers at command center. Just to be like, give myself license to go do those things. And I did not write the letter. Yeah. I didn't think it was necessary, but it's something I'm thinking through.
Yeah.
And that is like the fact that like an hour of my time spent thinking about like strategy and like how we can improve things from a very, very high level is far more important than me just like grinding. So like today I'm starting to make a list of stuff that like I could hand off to a virtual person. Like I want to have like a personal assistant. I know it's like super, super bougie, dumb stuff.
I mean, I support it.
But like, I should not be checking my email. Like I know I shouldn't be. I know I shouldn't be like doing certain things I do every day. And part of it is to fill the time that is required to work 24/7.
Yeah.
And so by removing those things and handing those things off, I can then spend an hour, 2 hours a day, like thinking about things that actually move the needle.
Yeah.
And like, I really believe like, I genuinely believe that like we'll do $100+ million in revenue. Like that's, it's not even like a matter of question. It's just a matter of time. And so like, it's just a matter of like, what do I need to change and what do I need to do to make that happen for the people around on the team? And like realizing like, yeah, I had like, dude, this weekend was like a really,
I like this.
A lot of time away and thinking and like why? Cause like I'm at the point now, like, okay, we'll go unfiltered. I can afford now the headquarters in cash.
Nice.
Right.
Cool.
I don't have to even sell my real estate anymore.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so that's been like for the past 2 years, like over my head. Like I knew there's this $3.5 million thing that I have to pay for. And so the fact that that's behind me, the fact that there's nothing that I want in life that I can't have now.
Right.
In terms of like money. And so like, it's like the best place to be. That's where everyone wants to be at. And so when you get there, it's like, okay, like now what? Like because like, as I've stated before, like I'm driven by fear and I'm driven by like lack. Like that's what's always driven me. So when that's not there, like where are you going from there, right? And so being really clear on like what those things are now and having clarity around that is like what I'm working on. Yeah.
I like this. I feel like I want to keep going down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, like a big piece of it for me is like I want to validate everyone around me too now. Yeah. And so like what got us to 100 locations in Augusta is not going to gets us to 1,000.
No.
Right? The amount of reach that we'll have to have from a media perspective has to like double and triple every single year.
Yeah.
And I know if I can do certain things, like right now, there's nothing new we need to do. I just need to simply stay on the course that we're doing. Like Augusta will have 1,000 locations if I can just stick to it. Co-pilot will become like a company that's worth $100+ million if I just stick to what we're doing right now. And so there's nothing new. I don't need to create anything. I need to stick to what we're currently doing. And I need to ensure that the people around me are supporting me to make sure I don't burn out. Like it sounds horrible, but like that's what I need to do. Because I just need to stay in the game. Like if I just stay in the game, I'll win. And the team will win. And so I really want to make sure though, like in that winning, that the people that are with us for like 5 and 10 years, like they can live their best life too. They get to the point where they are kind of in where I'm at right now, which I have a very low threshold of like what I need to hit in terms of revenue, like what money wise, like I don't need anything kind of. But without that cloud over me from the headquarters, and then having the fact like, okay, the franchise is growing, Copilot's growing. Yes, it's still burning cash, but like I know it. Like I know the result of that. Like I've done this now enough multiple times where it's like I know what it is to lose money. I know what the burn rate is. I understand what growth rate. I know exactly when we're crossing zero. So it's a different spot. It's a different spot in my. I feel like I'm turning this like corner.
Yeah,
and that is like I have to shift away from fear and that mindset and working 24/7 to like being a better leader.
Do you feel that because you have to make this shift, like you're worried? Ultimately, what you're saying is you're worried about how your employees will react to your shift, even though you strategically have to.
Yeah, I'm worried about that because like I feel like, for example, Alex said something, but I've always said this before, and like, he said something like
Hormozy.
Yeah, he said something recently like people get rich and then they get weird. What makes them weird is not what made them rich, in so many words. And I've always said that like what get Jeff Bezos to where he was at, it was working on the floor, crazy amounts of hours, and now they get to this level, and then they're like, it's all about sleep and like make one or two good decisions a day. It's like no. What got you there was like working crazy amounts of hours. And so I've always been very careful not to let the weird things affect me. It's like I know it's like work, patience, more work, patience, and you'll get there. And so it's been 10 years. Next year will be 10 years starting Augusta.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, in the last 10 years, that's like one swing, right? We talked about at Augusta. It's like one swing, that's 10 years. What's the next swing going to be? It's like the difference between us basically, tripling maybe Augusta or tripling Copilot versus 50 to 100xing them is simply going to be determined by like my ability to get to the next level myself. And so I got to figure that out. I haven't figured it out, but that's like my next thing I'm working on.
Do you feel like you need FaceTime with frontline employees to like stay grounded? Is that part of it?
Yes, I know that's a problem. And even like when you do peer reviews, like a lot of them are like talk to your employees more, get to know them more. And I know like it's that side of me. I want to be that person. I want to be the guy that people know, like they come up to your desk and they just talk to you about your life. I know that's what I want to do. But now there's hundreds like that I'm responsible for, and me spending one time with one person, yes, it might make their day, but what about the other people that like I'm supposed to, like my job is to improve their livelihood and their franchise and their location, et cetera. So I want to be the guy that wants to be personable. And so, yeah, like that's tearing. That's horrible. The fact that like there are people that work for me for months and I don't know their name.
And I think it's tough for, obviously I've been doing this with you for 5.5 years. But a lot of your employees are in one of your small businesses and you have a whole conglomerate of businesses. So you have hundreds of people that report to you, but the folks at Command Center see 30 to 40 and the media team sees 5 to 6. And then the Copilot team sees, I don't know, 15, 20. I don't know how many there are, right? And you have all these different you have all these different businesses. The conglomerate is huge, so you don't have 100 minutes every day to talk to every single employee, but it can feel like you're disconnected because they don't see the whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like even I went to North Carolina and I was like, I never went and talked to my general managers. And I was like, sick. But it was like, no, the whole point in going there was for the media.
Yeah.
And it was for us to video for the franchisees exactly the first 30 days of starting a location. But, like, I could see how someone would be like, seriously, you were in North Carolina for a month and, like, all your GMs, like, started their location 30, 40 minutes away. You couldn't go see them for a night. I was like, sick. And so, I don't know. It just, I think a lot of people would where I'm at, I would feel more comfortable stopping in terms of just like personal relationships, which are like super important to me in terms of my team, right? And people's like opinions of me as the CEO. That's like a big deal to me. Like, did you hear this at training when I talked about this, the Tesla thing?
I don't know. I might not have been there.
So we were talking about like the core values and stuff like that, and I was talking about
that's usually when I head out.
Yeah, got it. So I was basically like, the number one reason, like I said, I can make perfect sense from a monetary standpoint and time savings perspective why I should get a Tesla. Because I'd get about 40 minutes extra a day to be able to work compared to driving to and from the offices, et cetera. That 40 minutes extrapolated by my time value easily can make sense of it. The fact that I live next to a supercharger, or the office is next to a supercharger, and like it would make perfect financial sense. But I wouldn't do it. And I say because I could not drive it into the Bellingham shop. I couldn't do that in like feeling right. And I know that's going to handicap me from a money standpoint. And so I feel like this is like the optimistic side of me is like that notion that I have is going to keep me balanced as I grow, because I'll always want this, but know that like in order to grow and expand the companies, I'll need to be something else. So I'm hoping that there's a good balance there, because like it'd be much more comfortable. Like, okay, I'm going to be here. I'm going to make sure I have like one-on-ones with the team members and all this like more team building stuff, and like be there for them more often. And I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, well, you can grow and still do that. It's like, it's really tough to focus on like media strategy, things like that, and then like know all of your employees well and what they're doing on the weekend. And like, it's tough. I don't follow anyone on social media. Like, and that's another thing. It would really help me do that, but like staying connected with them like virtually. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out, dude.
Yeah. I want to push back a little more though.
Yeah.
In order to draw a larger audience and to draw talent, to become a talent magnet for your management team, and ultimately for people that eventually might move to work for you, right? Once we get to a certain point, like we will be a talent magnet. Wouldn't you say to motivate those people, you would want to have like the Tesla? You would want to like show them how successful you're doing?
I don't want to work with the person that thinks that that's the level of success. Like that's what success means.
But it couldn't be a motivator?
Could be, but I don't know if I want to be working with the type of person that looks at a Tesla and is like, oh man, that's all I want from life. That's success to me. That's not what success is to me.
Right. But what I'm saying is to like grow the audience and like your management team. Like, wouldn't you want to show them that like you're doing well? At some point, does it switch or does it even matter?
I don't know. Like, seriously? Like,
I'm just wondering. Like, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
A really nice car in a house to see like, oh, he's probably worth a lot of money.
Yeah. Because you're just thinking this conversation's been more about frontline employees. So I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for different levels, right? I think for me, like, I don't know. I've always told you should get a Tesla. Like, I think it'd be cool if you got one. I know you can afford one. I think it'd be cool, and not necessarily motivating for me. And like, I don't want a Tesla. I'm just gonna be honest. I think they're kind of ugly. Just saying it. But I think they're cool. But like, I don't want one. But I think it would like, for me, it's almost like, okay, like we're doing good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to put a different spin on it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I believe what I just said, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
I don't want to work like ultimately. Like, I want to work for people that want to work long hours. I want to work with people that want profit sharing. I want to work with people that see the upside potential in 5 or 10 years and are willing to sacrifice in the short term.
Yeah.
So if I am today doing something that attracts people that aren't going to think that way, I don't want to work with them. And so I would rather live a smaller life in perpetuity to be able to work with the type of person that's hungry. And then if the person that is so great isn't willing to work with me because I don't live a standard of living that they deem as successful, I probably don't want to work with them.
Okay.
So like it's a filtering mechanism, I guess, for that in that regard.
It's like that really big interview that Jeff Bezos did. Like once Amazon started to blow up, it was like in 1999 or 2000. And is that why you got a Honda? Because they interview him like in his Honda.
Oh, in the Honda Accord.
And he's like, well, it's just a very practical car.
It's a very practical car.
Is that why you went with the Honda? You were like, well, if Bezos can do it, I can do it.
Oh no. Yeah, like for me with the Civic, it was like, what car can I get that is nice, that I can get like updated every couple years and not have the perception that it's like
fancy,
for
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Uppity.
Yeah, uppity. That I can drive into the Bellingham shop and feel good that I'm still like with like my frontline team members.
That's fair.
And I know that's like it's a limiting belief though, ultimately, right? Like eventually you'll have to do things like, for example, you'll have to go to like a crazy place and pay crazy amounts of money to be around people that like push you to the next level. Like this is like a big thing for me right now. There's no one I know personally that like I can just go chat it up with that is like leagues ahead of me. And that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's limiting. And so like do I need to move somewhere for 2 months out of the year? I don't know. Like, would it be healthy for me to be in San Francisco and like be around other software development and like learn AI better? I don't know. So these are just things I'm open to, I'm thinking about. And everyone gets like nervous when you're like, I'm just like putting my thoughts out.
I love it.
But like I want to constantly improve and I'm not going to be stay stagnant. And I believe that mentality is what I expect of the franchisees, I expect of the managers, I expect of Augusta Nation. And so I'm trying to live that from the top.
Dude, I like it. I think that's cool. I don't know. That's really all I had, honestly.
Cool. All right, non-financial advice. I already kind of brought it up. Remarkable.
Remarkable.
Horribly expensive investment.
Okay.
Horrible. Don't get one unless you like pen and paper. Like if you are the type of person that you pull up your phone to like put a reminders app and you're like, oh, and you just pull out a piece of paper and start taking notes with a pen, probably a good investment. If you like visualizing things and drawing things instead of typing them, also great investment.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible investment if you like iPads. If you like typing on an iPad, you probably should not use a Remarkable. So it's expensive. It has served me well. And on the weekend, I fell in love with it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought about getting one, but they're so expensive.
They're expensive, dude.
But I'm a pen and paper guy.
Are you?
Yeah. And you can like copy and paste it into like actual text.
Yeah. And then now you can sync it into Google Drive. But I don't like writing out paragraphs, but like visualization of concepts for me. Oh, dude, like this weekend was really good. I have 2 keynotes for the conference.
Let's go.
Just based on like just drawing things out, like putting in things in boxes and categorizing, and like doing pyramids and all that goodness. It was great.
Good. I love it.
So, Remarkable, what's your non-financial
Well,
advice?
that's perfect segue. My non-financial advice is if you've made it this far into the podcast, October Landscape Summit.
Oh, let's go.
2023 part 2.
Oh, dude, do you want to announce
Do I want to announce?
that we're doing the real C-suite?
Oh, okay, sure.
Unfiltered
Yeah,
there?
if you've made it this far, you get a sneak peek. We're doing the real
The real.
C-suite. That will be a segment at the Landscape Summit.
Yeah,
So
main
that'll-
stage.
Main stage. That'll be myself, our Chief Operations Officer, Liz Neighbor, and our East Coast Manager, Chuck Fott.
Yeah.
We will be doing the real C-suite.
Yeah.
And we'll just be talking about...
Just the 3 of you.
Just the 3 of us, yeah. Talking about our leadership roles within Augusta, working for this guy, and just all the trials and tribulations we go through as leaders.
That'll be fun. That'll be good.
So check
when
it
we
out.
Putting it together, I'm like, oh, it needs to be called the real C-suite.
I love it. I love the free plug. I'll take it. We need 1,000 subscribers by then. Like and subscribe, please.
Just have everyone in the audience. All right, everyone click subscribe right now.
I will give away all of the money we earn at Summit if we get to 1,000 subscribers. Like, 3 pennies.
3 pennies from AdSense. Cool. That was a pod.
That's a pod.
Therapy session with Lee.